Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching all of the videos that I've put out so far. I appreciate it. This is like kind of out of my element, but it's always something, like I said, I've always wanted to do. I hope that the information that I continue to share with you guys is helpful. But we're going to get started on the topic for today. So I wanted to just get on here really quick and kind of talk about being a patient advocate for yourself, because a lot of times you might be in a situation where a doctor might not believe you, or a doctor or nurse might think, you don't need to be seen, or you are there's nothing wrong with you, and chances are they could be wrong. I know we're taught to believe, we're supposed to trust what the doctor says, but first of all, I believe in doctors, but I believe in the Lord first and foremost. So he, at the end of the day, he's going to always have the last say, and that's just what I believe in. But I do believe God blesses people with certain gifts here on earth, and you are to trust them, but you're also supposed to trust your gut instinct too. So if you're in a situation where you feel like you don't really trust what this doctor is saying, go and get a second opinion. You don't ever want to be in a situation where something you feel like is going on within your body is happening, but your doctor is like, no, you're okay, and then it later on turns into something else, or even worse, like you end up dead. And unfortunately, that is what happens a lot, especially with African American women. I'm not sure why there's such a huge disparity between the health care being provided for African American women versus white women. I don't know, but there are studies everywhere about the differences. Black women have much more chances. I don't know the exact number, and I can actually look it up, but the chances of a black woman dying in delivery of giving birth to a child is higher than if a white woman were to deliver a baby in the same area. Like, I don't understand that at all. But you hear stories all the time. I know I hear stories all the time about black women going to the doctor or being refused services because they were like, well, they said there was nothing wrong with them, and they end up sicker or dead. So what I've learned in my 38 years of living, it took me a long time. I would say it probably took me over 15, 16 years to learn how to advocate for myself, because what I've learned just dealing with sickle cell anemia, especially, they already assume something about you before you even see them. They automatically think that if you're in the emergency room and you put down you have sickle cell anemia, they're going to automatically assume you are there for pain medicine. And it's not fair. It's not a fair assessment, because unfortunately, dealing with the disease, it is extremely painful at times. And there have been times where I have wanted to go in for pain, but I refused because I didn't want the judgment. Because the thing is, if you go in there, they automatically think, oh, you're looking for morphine. I don't even like pain medicine, and I feel sorry for people who deal with this disease, who actually depend on it just to survive. And I mean, survive is a loose word, because when you're in that much pain, you're not even really living. You're basically existing, because the pain is that bad. But if you're not in the body of someone with sickle cell, you would never know. It is the worst. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, it could be a 20 or 30. But when you go to the hospital, the first thing that they're going to want to do is give you pain meds, because they think that's what you're there for anyways. And I even had a nurse even tell me once, I think I shared this, are you, I'm surprised you're not asking for pain meds, because most of you guys do that. And I was like, what do you mean? First of all, no. Secondly, don't ever come at me like that again, because that's disrespectful. And I think I shared that in my last story. But anyways, that's what they think. And it's not fair, because, like I said, sometimes some patients need that morphine, because that's the only thing that's going to stop the pain. But other times they don't need morphine. They really just need you to listen. For me, I don't come into the hospital searching for morphine. What I need, I already know what I need. Usually it's oxygen and a blood transfusion and fluids. That's it. Like, I don't have to have anything else. You can see me right on home afterwards. And what I've had to learn to do was I'm not a doctor. I didn't go to medical school, but I know my body. I've been living in it for 38 years. So I know what I need. I remember 2 years ago, I was in the hospital and I felt like I had a fever, and I called the nurse, and she came in, and I was like, can you check my temperature? And she was like, you're probably warm because you keep asking for warm blankets. And I was like, that has nothing to do with my internal temp. Like, I'm warm, but I'm freezing. I'm feverish. And she's like, let me take some of these warm blankets off of you, because that's probably what I said. If you don't feel comfortable taking a few seconds to check my temp, can you get another nurse who will do it? Because I know I have a fever. So she was like, okay, I'll do it. I don't mind, but I'm just trying to tell you it's probably nothing. I said, okay, well, if it's nothing, just check it. Let's just see. I said, I know my body, you know. I'm glad my mom wasn't there, because my mom wouldn't have been that nice. She would have went off. So she goes and gets the machine to check my temp. She comes back. She checks my temp. My temperature's like 103. And she's like, oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry. Yeah, you do have a fever. At the time when she was saying this, I didn't know. I was like, well, what is it? She was like, it's 103 something. And I was just like, I told you. I told you I had a fever. And she was like, I'm so sorry. Sidebar. Had I not fought for her to check my temp, I don't know what could have happened a couple of hours later. Because if your fever sometimes it spikes too high, it's hard to get down, it can end up worse, especially if you already have a chronic illness. So she was like, well, I'm gonna have to call the doctor, and I can order you some Tylenol. Or I was like, I had to tell her what to do. I was like, can you see if I can get Motrin and Tylenol, and can you rotate it every 4 hours? So she got permission to do that from the doctor, even though it's not good for sickle cell patients to take ibuprofen. I know I'm not supposed to, and I have stopped. I haven't taken ibuprofen in a few months now, but honestly, Tylenol doesn't really do much for me, but more ibuprofen does wonders for me. Like, I could take 2 ibuprofen and usually I'm good to go. Well, anyway, so they ended up getting by the next day, I would say by lunch, the fever had broke. My point is this, like, you got to know for yourself, because a lot of times they're not going to take a second to check. They're just not going to do that. I've been in plenty of situations where I've had to go behind and advocate for myself, because I'm realizing that a lot of these nurses and even doctors, they don't really care. My hematologist here, he's a nice guy. He's a nice man, but I'm constantly having to ask him questions, and usually the answer to the question is, I don't know. I don't mind the answer being I don't know, but the problem I have is you saying I don't know, and you don't follow up. So that's why I started seeing a team at Vanderbilt University. I absolutely love my hematologists there, because they are so thorough, and they don't play about me, and they don't play about a lot of their patients. Every time I leave there, I feel so encouraged and just motivated to just do better. But when I leave my hematologist here where I live, I always feel defeated every single time. And I usually end up calling my husband or calling my mom or my sisters, and I'm just like venting to them because I feel defeated. I know a few months ago, I kept telling my hematologist here that for some reason I have, sorry, my dog, Marley, get out of the bathroom. So I kept saying, I kept telling him, like, for some reason I'm having trouble breathing, and I'm not really sure why, and my counts are not low enough for me to be feeling this way. So why am I feeling so, really? Okay. Why am I feeling this way if my counts are not low enough? That would usually make me feel like I can't breathe. And he was just like, I'm not really sure. And I'm like, if you're not really sure, can't you find out? So he doesn't. So at that point, I leave and I call Vanderbilt and I go to Vanderbilt. Well, they run all these tests, which honestly, all the tests I was scheduled to go take anyway. So it actually worked out in good timing. So they did all these tests and they found out like my lung function is not the best, which I knew that. I felt that, but I needed confirmation from an expert. Well, they were more concerned for me than the doctor here. So the doctor, my doctor at Vandy, they were like, I'm not understanding why, if you see your hematologist in your hometown, if you see him every month or every 6 weeks, because I only go to Vanderbilt like every 3 to 4 months. So really my local hematologist should have caught this before Vandy caught this. They were upset because they're like, they should have caught a couple of things and they didn't catch any of the stuff that we're seeing just based off of a couple of lab draws. So I'm saying all this to say, it's already hard enough, period, even if you don't have a condition. But as a Black person in this country, your health care is different. Just, it is what it is. And it sucks, but it is the truth. And because of that, you have to learn how to advocate for yourself. You cannot trust and rely solely on what your doctor is saying. You need a good team who is going to have your back, who's going to double check, who's going to do research. If they don't know, they're going to find out. And you have to trust yourself. You have to trust God, and you need to find a team of doctors who you can trust as well. You don't need to be paying people, going to see people, paying a copay, only to leave feeling like you're defeated. Like, that's unacceptable. And that's just what I'm learning. So what I am saying this to say, once again, just to continue to be encouraged and be smart. And especially if you have an underlying condition, like, you cannot risk your own life. Like, you shorten your own lifespan just because you are relying on incompetent care. And I feel sorry for people who are in my situation that live in rural areas where they don't have access, or they live even in the city that has great access to healthcare, but they might not have the insurance to go see them. I'm in a blessed situation because I have the means and the resources to go see a good team of doctors, but there are so many people in my boat who are dying at, like my doctor told me, my Vandy team told me, they're dying between ages of 45 and 50. That is the lifespan for somebody with sickle cell anemia. And it doesn't even have to be that way. The reason why it is because it's a Black disease, and a Black disease doesn't warrant enough attention for research or funding to find a cure. And unfortunately, the majority, they don't care. Now, if it were a disease that affected more people other than Blacks, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. I will probably not have this disease anymore. I'll probably be cured. But, and that's not even coming from me. You know who told me that? My doctor, who is not even Black. My doctor, she shared that with me last night. And she shared her frustration because she's a specialist in sickle cell. And she said, you know, it's unfortunate, you know, because this disease is a deadly disease, but it hasn't been taken serious by other people because it's a minority disease, and it's not fair, and that's why people are dying. Because you can live a full life if you have the right team, if you have the right if you have the right team of people who care for you and care about your health. You can live. And you also have to care about your own health as well. Like, just because you have a good team of doctors, but you're out here partying, drinking, smoking, and not, taking care of your body, then that's on you, But because you have a responsibility as well. But if you're paying people to take care of you and they're lacking, you need to go somewhere else. So that's what I want to share with you guys today, because I had a conversation with my doctor yesterday, and the reality of it, it frustrated me because there's just some things, which I'll probably share later. It's not a big deal, but I don't feel like getting into it. But there are just some things that could have been prevented that weren't. And it's because of the lack of, honestly, concern from my local hematologist. But thank God I have a team who are going to pick up the ball where it was dropped and go from there. And not only do you have to have a good team, you have to have a good support system. Thank God for my husband, my parents, my siblings, my friends. That's important. And you know what else is super duper duper important? Probably the most important thing out of everything that I've talked about is your headspace. If you're a negative thinker, or if you just are always just you don't see everything positively, that affects your physical body as well. I think what has kept me, aside from God, is how my outlook on my life. Like, I refuse to believe that this is the end for me. I refuse to believe that I can't live a full life. I refuse to believe that I'm not healthy. I speak it. You know what I mean? My health, my mental, if you ask anybody, my mental health, like anybody that knows me, one thing about me that cannot be broken is my mental health. Like, I'm so confident in God and just confident in knowing, like, I'm good. And I believe that. I don't go around with the woe is me attitude. Now, there are times you are entitled to a moment. Like, I had a moment yesterday, and I give myself that. And I have to tell my mom and my sisters and even Mario, like, I'm entitled to a moment. When I'm feeling a certain type of way, I'm entitled, because this is it is a heavy burden to carry. But I'm entitled to a moment. But once I allow myself that moment, I got to get up and snap out of it, because I'm not going to go into a state of depression and mope and, woe is me and be sad about something that I cannot change. I can change my attitude about it. I can just try to continue to live right. And I need to try to eat better, but that's another video. Just continue to do what I feel like I can do to make myself feel better. I'm not going to sit around and be sad about what is going on. And I hope that I can be encouraging to other people. You will never see me post a woe was me video about I'm in the hospital again, whatever. If I post a video of me in the hospital, it is strictly for you to just kind of get an idea as to what it's like for me. I don't like to see videos of people in the hospital and they are complaining about being there. I use that energy and focus it on something else. Like, I don't want to see you on Facebook plugged up. You know how they do. And they're just plugged up and they're like, this is a oxygen. And they're like, pray for me. Pray for me. I just had an allergy attack and I gotta go get some Zyrtec. There are people who are dying, sweetie. Like, you don't need to post that. And I know people do it for attention, but that's another video too. Anyway, I said all that to say, be your own patient advocate. Look out for yourself. Always get a second opinion. And if you feel like something is not right, it probably isn't. Trust that gut. That is what it's there for. Like, you have an instinct. You gotta trust that. And encourage yourself. Don't feel defeated, because if you are alive today, then you have a purpose. And so, yeah, that I think is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I kind of just went off with no agenda, but I said everything I need to say, and I look forward to hearing your comments. And if you like this video, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.